Hey folks, thank you. Welcome to the Roland Grimes, not just sports and entertainment show. Of course, I'm your host, Roland Bubba Grimes, and as always, I want to reintroduce you to my co-host, Mr. Self-Empowerment, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wilbert Skipper. Skip, looking good in that suit, man.
I'm trying, bro. I'm trying to keep up.
Hey, look, I understand you went to one of the Redskins games
recently.
What'd
did
you
I
think
go
of
to?
it?
Oh, I loved it. I lost my voice.
Did you?
It was so much excitement. I tell you, the Redskins will put you in a panic mode often, but we had a great time. Great game, great victory. I think we're on to something big. Whether or not we get there this year or next year, I think it's going to be great.
Well, look, I'm glad you made it back. I'm glad you got your voice back.
Definitely.
Because we have a distinguished gentleman here with us today. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't the only one running my mouth. So I'm glad you showed up for the party. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to a gentleman who is in charge of, I'm going to try to get this correct, the Elite Showcase Basketball or Elite Basketball Showcase. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Thomas Gadson.
Thank you, Roland.
Thomas, man.
Good. Thank you very much for having me.
Nice to see you, sir.
Nice to see you.
And as we get started, I want to send out, I don't really do shout-outs on this show, but I want to send a hearty hello and I miss you to a good mutual friend of ours,
Exactly.
Mr. Adrian Autry, formerly of the Syracuse University Orangemen. We used to call him Red.
Yeah, that's him. That's him.
Now, where do you know Red from?
A couple years ago, Red came after he finished his pro career. Came over, and my son was playing with the AU program, and Red became his coach. And from there, I've seen Red when he was at the Q's, and of course, as a basketball fanatic,
Right.
I recognized this gentleman right away. Right. And we became friends. His family and I, we all became friends beyond the basketball court. And an excellent coach for my son, and to this day, we remain friends. Like I said, we were together last night.
Man, that's astounding, man, because I look at Red Autry as one of the classiest individuals, similar to Wilbur Skipper, whoever put on a basketball uniform as far as I'm concerned, their interest in the community around them,
right.
The way that they handled themselves on campus and in the classroom, terrific role models.
Right. And to this day, he and my son have a bond that doesn't pertain to on the court,
exactly,
off the court, and that's what makes him a special guy in my life and in my family's life.
Give me the correct pronunciation. Elite Showcase Basketball?
It's Elite Showcase Basketball Classic. We started in 2009 as a thought. Let's put together an all-star game. We can bring some kids in, put them in an all-star setting, treat them like they're at the McDonald's All-American game, and give this to them. And our first year, we had Trayvon Graham, who's at VCU right now, who's doing this thing at VCU, was a part of that first class.
Yeah, he's having a good year.
Great year. And that's where it started from, a simple thought, simple concept. And said, let's start from there. As with anything, my basis is always, everything starts with a thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once we got the thought down, once we kind of got the idea down, I said, let's get that down, and we'll layer everything else on top of that.
Now, Skip, before you jump in,
and I'm going to jump in. We a basketball subject to talk about. Wow,
good. When you say everything starts with a thought, I tell you what, you sound like an engineer to me. You sound like someone who's involved with creative processes. Yes. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, my profession, I'm a solutions architect, and I have my degree in computer science from Morris College. I started out at Livingstone in CIAA, played for Coach Joe Robinson. Hard Joe Robinson. I learned a valuable lesson. Oh, yeah, day one about CIAA basketball, my first day on campus.
Oh, it's gritty.
Yeah, it's a grind. Yeah. And I tell kids right now, if you don't understand CIAA basketball and understand that, it's something else.
That's a lot of history.
Fortunate to play against Winston-Salem State with Clarence Big House games. Right. That's a lifelong memory. Right. And then from there, I transferred. Got hungry some nights. So I need to get back closer to home. Okay. And my mother and my family, they were graduates from Morris College. And I went there, and that's where I have my degree from.
Okay. Hey, folks, you may hear some of the party going on next door. We're shooting at the M Lounge in Capitol Heights, Maryland.
Well, one of the things that I like already about what you're doing is the fact that you're still living in basketball.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you and I talked a little bit off the camera how some of the kids if they would just go ahead and start that process early,
Right.
as to what they would want to do after basketball
Right.
or football is over with. By the time they finish college, they can start propelling themselves into a new arena and be a lot more polished
Right.
about what they're doing. So I love the fact that you're doing that. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the old Capitol Classic.
Right.
You know, how we used
Right.
to get excited about this, especially with me
Right.
being a basketball player.
Right.
I didn't play in the big game. I played in the preliminary game. But I tell you, there was a lot of excitement around there. And as kids, young kids, we really bought into, wow, we're being recognized. We have all these college coaches coming to the game. Now I'm going to have an opportunity to pick the school I probably want to go to. And that's phenomenal. So I commend you. I commend you for that.
Well, thank you. And we were very fortunate. We actually have, each year, we have a couple unsigned guys playing the game, which is not, it's kind of unusual. We bring these unsigned guys come in, and what they do, they come and have opportunity to play against the high-level guys. We had a young man last year, Charles Taylor, who played at Montrose Christian, was unsigned last year. He just signed the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, UMBC. I'm sorry, and that's great for me. This is a kid that didn't have a scholarship.
Absolutely.
Now he has a scholarship, and we're very pleased with that. We had Frank Mason last year, as we talked about off the camera. Frank Mason he committed to go to Townsend, played in our game. Now Frank is headed to Kansas in 2013, and we're very proud of that.
Well, the other thing that it sounds like, Roland, before you jump in, is there some empowerment going here? I mean, it sounds like there's some empowering things happening here within what you guys have done and are doing for the kids.
Yes, and also, too, what we have established is an internship program where young men and young women that want to get into your field, that want to get behind the camera, they want to understand what is going on, they have an opportunity to do that at our game, at a live event. We have Junior Burroughs, who played at UVA, played at Oak Hill, was an All-American, drafted second round by the Celtics, is our play-by-play guy. Good friend of mine, well known within the basketball community. We've now empowered him to give that back to any kid if you have the right grades. I mean, there's a criteria that we look for.
Sure.
But we want to give them something because we want to find the next Roland Grimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do we do that?
Absolutely.
We give them that platform, which is the ESBC, to do that.
Okay. Super. Now, before we go to break, I'm going to ask you very quickly, how do you find some of the student athletes to participate in your game?
Well, a lot of the kids, we go after the top 100 kids in the country. And
measured by what?
Measured by ESPN Top 100. And when I started out, someone asked me, how can you compete against the McDonald's All-American game? I said, one reason, Washington, D.C. I keep Washington, D.C. as my base.
That's your staple, okay.
This is the nation's capital, most powerful city in the world.
And there's a lot of talent here.
A lot of talent. And a lot of kids and families want to come to D.C. As we were talking last year, we had the number one player, female, out of Utah. Her grandmother made it. She had to come. It wasn't ifs, ands, or buts about it. She was coming to D.C. to enjoy and embrace Washington, D.C. And that's one of our key staples. And so we can, as we say, utilizing the word compete against the big boys that are there in Chicago. Chicago's now Washington, D.C.
Exactly. And what better place than to have to come to the nation capital where we have the President of the United States, the Congress, it's just a wonderful experience for kids, especially to start that early.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to, when we come back, we're going to take a station break, folks. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the last game that you played, and then we're going to talk about the next game you're planning on playing. Hey, folks, sit tight. Roland Grimes, not just sports entertainment show, right back at you in a few. Sit tight.